Hey everybody, welcome to As Father and Son. We've been talking about doing this video for a little while, and this is our top 5 movie trilogies of all time. Go get a soda.
Darn
Alright, so we're going to do this thing the way that we always do it, to where you do not tell me your list and I do not tell you my list. It's
Exactly.
a surprise.
It's a surprise for both of us.
And we can try to guess each other's lists.
Yeah.
This is what we usually do.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, boys and girls, here we go.
Let us commence.
Here is Aiden's number 5 top movie trilogy.
Wait. Before we reveal it,
Before we reveal it, yes.
I want you to put your seatbelt on.
No, I already have a good idea what's gonna be on your list.
Oh, do you?
You probably already know my list. Your number 5 is the original. The original Star Wars is number 5. Oh my gosh!
I'm honestly surprised he even expected it to be on the list at all.
Oh, I have failed you, Anakin.
You do realize you just used a prequel reference to describe.
Yes, I know. Anyway,
Yeah.
why is this your number 5 of all time?
Well, because I like all the other ones better I chose on the list. they're more my favorite.
Okay, here's my number 5. My number 5 is the Indiana Jones trilogy, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. I love the Indiana Jones movies. I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, listen. Pause for a minute. I used to go to the drive-in. My parents used to take me to the drive-in. If you don't know what a drive-in is, it's an outside movie theater where you pulled up and you put a speaker in the car window, and like my mom would pop like a big brown paper grocery bag full of popcorn and like cook hot dogs and wrap them up in aluminum foil and buns, and we'd take a 6-pack of Coke and go to the drive-in, and I would sit in the back of the station wagon and not only watch our movie, but I'd like watch everybody else's movie that's going on too. So you could do that. Now you couldn't tell what was going on in the other movies because you couldn't hear it, but you could see. But it was the funnest time ever. And I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark at the drive-in. And man, as a kid, it was the funnest thing ever. Such an adventurous movie trilogy. My favorite movie of all 3 is The Last Crusade.
Me too.
That's my favorite one. I love that one because, well, it's father and son thing. Isn't that funny?
And I think it's the most adventurous. It feels the most adventurous.
Absolutely, it does.
We don't count. Should we talk about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Why you did not count that as?
Oh no, that's right. Okay. All right, even though there's a 4th Indiana Jones movie, I do not count that movie because it came out way after the 3 that, and this was originally intended to be a trilogy, and they kind of tacked the 4th one on, so I don't count it as 4 movies. I only count it as 3. Plus the 4th one was not that great. Well, after what I just witnessed, I have no clue what your number 4 is. I don't even understand what's happening right now. So we're just gonna maniacal laugh. So I'm just gonna hit the button, and here's your number 4. Your number 4 is the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh, that's number 4. These are at the bottom of your list.
Quick disclaimer: this was not meant to be number 4.
It was meant to be what number on your list?
It was meant to be number 3.
All right, so in a minute we'll find out what your number.
What my actual number 4 is. Maybe I was just having a bad day when I made the list or something. I don't exactly know why.
You were obviously having a bad day because your number 5 is the original Star Wars trilogy.
That was not part of my bad day. I must have forgot to switch them because,
That's all right.
Okay, so that's my number 3.
Okay, that's your number 3. So we'll find out what your number 4 is in a minute. All right, so here's my number 4.
Okay.
My number 4 is the Back to the Future trilogy. I love Back to the Future. Do you like Back to the Future?
I do. I never saw the 3rd one.
Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting that. My poor child. It's my fault. I have never shown you the 3rd movie. It's such a good movie.
I do want to see the 3rd movie. I do. I just never did.
Here's why I love Back to the Future trilogy. All 3 movies are spectacular. They're all just as good as the one before it. The story is it just flows between all 3 movies. Marty and Doc are such lovable characters. You can relate to Marty because he's, like this high school dude. He loves music and he's got a girlfriend and, he's trying to get the girl and this dude's picking on him. And, it's that typical kind of thing. So they're very relatable characters. What did you love about Back to the Future?
Well, from
the first two. Yeah, that's right. First two. What did you love about them?
I love Doc. I think Doc is hilarious.
Oh my gosh!
Doc Brown.
What? 21. What?
I think all of his one-liners are so.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Time travel movies can be really fun.
Yeah, they can.
Just like
if you do them right.
Just like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which we love. Okay, so next is we're getting ready to see your number 4 because The Dark Knight was actually your number 3.
Dark Knight was number 3.
So this is actually number 4 on your list. You got them swapped, but let's see what it is. Lord of the Rings! Holy cow! Okay.
Okay.
This is your number 4, right?
This is my number 4.
So you technically have Dark Knight as number 3 and Lord of the Rings is number 4. Okay.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings.
I'm going to talk about both of these.
All right. Go ahead.
Lord of the Rings. So, I went to see Hobbit in theater, and I wasn't excited about it, but when I did, I actually realized that I actually enjoyed it. So I figured I would give Lord of the Rings another try, because at that time I had seen the movies, or at least one of them or something.
Yep.
Anyway, I watched them, and I loved them, and I cried at Return of the King. I teared up at Return of the King, definitely.
That is such a magical moment at the end of that movie, where Aragorn comes out after his ceremony and walks up to the hobbits, and they start to bow to him, and then he says, "You bow to no one." That part is just incredible.
It's phenomenal.
It's
the
a big
respect
kick.
He has for him.
The respect he has for them. It's a big kick in the gut. So fantastic.
Can I please highlight? Okay,
so incredible.
And I think these movies have such awesome moments. All 3 of them. I think Samwise is a brilliant, brilliant character.
And for those of you who love the books over the movie, I totally 100% get that. But we do really love the movies.
So, Dark Knight is, you really can't, as far as quality is concerned, as far as really anything is concerned, you can't really beat those movies. I mean, they're made to perfection. Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors of all time.
Yes.
Especially Dark Knight itself, like the middle movie, Dark Knight itself. I mean, that arguably is one of the greatest movies of all time because of how it's done, because of Joker as the bad guy, Heath Ledger's portrayal of that character. It is phenomenal. Batman Begins sets up his origin and sets up the story really well, and then Dark Knight carries it on, and then you just have the dynamic of Gordon and what Gordon has to deal with through the trilogy, and then have Bane by the end of the trilogy, and it's like this gift wrap present of awesomeness, and it's like
it is. It's fantastic.
It's the Dark Knight trilogy. All right, now Daddy's number.
Here is my number 3. The Lord of the Rings. That's my number 3. Believe it or not, and we just talked about that. So there you go. Why we love those movies? They're awesome. So I got Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, and Lord of the Rings. All right, you ready? Oh, go ahead. Yes, you have a butt. I have a butt. Everybody has a butt.
Prepare yourself. You might be shocked.
This is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah, it is.
Whoa! What? The prequels is your number 2? Oh! Tell us why Star Wars prequels are your number 2.
Okay, most people out there, probably you watching now, would call me crazy for loving prequel movies over the original movies.
Well, yes, and rightfully
and
so.
And you.
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
Here's why I love the prequels. Because they're awesome. Some might say Hayden Christensen's acting is bad. Even if it is, I don't really care because these movies have a certain nostalgia for me. I saw them when I was younger. Yeah. And I think Darth Maul is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And when those doors open up and he reveals his double-bladed lightsaber, I was convulsing. It
is very much like how Vader comes in episode 4. It's very similar to that. And we've said this before. There are so many people from your generation who really appreciate the prequels over the original trilogy just because that's what they grew up on.
Exactly.
And honestly, like George Lucas, it is what it is, and we can argue like specifics all day long. But the fact of the matter is, I think he did a good job of telling Anakin's story from episode 1 to 3, from him, as a kid to becoming Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. Revenge of the Sith is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And so I love the fight scenes in Revenge of the Sith. I think the story is very well balanced. I think Episode 1 is an awesome movie. It's a cool story that you can just... I don't know. I mean, I think the prequels are just... I think the special effects really are the bomb.
Episode 1 or 3? Favorite one?
3.
3?
3.
That's cool.
3, 1, 2 is my thing.
Okay, here we go.
Should I guess? Should I guess?
Yes, guess what my number 2 is. What's my number 2?
Original trilogy.
Wrong. The Dark Knight trilogy is my number 2. Yes, Dark Knight is my number 2 favorite movie trilogy of all time. It is definitely one of the best movie trilogies ever made. And you talked about this a little while ago. Batman Begins sets it up. Batman is one of my favorite characters ever. I love Batman, and to me...
He is your favorite. No, he's not one of. He is your favorite character.
Well, him and Darth Vader are my favorites. We all know this.
I've always assumed that Batman was above Darth Vader.
They're both the same. I love them both so much. And we talked about how Christopher Nolan is just an amazing, fantastic director. He knows how to do things. And to have Heath Ledger as the Joker, that's one of the best performances I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
that is crazy
undoubtedly.
good. And I love all 3 movies just as much as I love the other ones. Like, I think they're all fantastic. And it's realistic, too. It's they
realistic.
make it so realistic.
It's like the most realistic superhero movies. It's like, this could actually happen.
Exactly. And... You know, another thing I love about those movies?
What?
They didn't try to cram too many villains into each movie.
Yeah, and the ones, and like...
Because a lot of times when they do that, it never works out good if they try to cram too many villains into one movie.
Well,
which is probably what we'll talk about with your number 1.
Yeah, in a minute. Anyway.
All right, dude.
Number 1.
Here's your number 1 movie trilogy.
Guess what it is. Guess what it is.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
No, like fake guess. Like be silly guess.
Oh, silly guess? Not Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
That was pathetic.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna before you say anything, I want you to hear me say this. There is a special place in my heart for the very first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Yes, I know there's,
Because growing up as a kid, all I got was like that goofy TV series that they did. And they had Spider-Man on the Electric Company, if anybody remembers that. We were just talking about Morgan Freeman.
The word bubbles.
Oh my gosh, man. So by the time the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out on the big screen, I was floored. Because it was like the first adaptation of like a serious Spider-Man, and it was the coolest. So tell us why you like the original.
Okay, I know you're
Tobey
probably
Maguire
shocked that I
Spider-Man.
picked this one over prequels.
I am a little surprised at that.
A little, you're probably
Very surprised.
Anyway. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So here's the deal. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. He's not like, another adult who became a superhero, willy-nilly, but he's a teenager. And a teenager who got superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And he always chooses to do the right thing. I mean, maybe not always choose to do the right thing, but he always, he wants to choose it over the stuff that, the other stuff that he really wants to do. He wants to hang out with one of his girlfriends or something. He wants to. He
chooses the right thing.
He needs to finish the school report. He's got a school report. It's coming up. He needs to finish it. And he
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And he has to save the world. He has to save the city.
Yes, and I think they did a really good job of establishing the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" thing with Uncle Ben, and that's so good.
I think Uncle Ben's relationship was established very well in these movies. 3 is my favorite because Venom is also like my second favorite Spider-Man villain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Venom is awesome, and I think that Spider-Man 3. I love. See, everybody makes fun of the whole Peter Parker dance moves down the street.
I know you really
love
like
that.
those.
That's nostalgic for me because I saw that one when I was young too, and so like it just like him dancing down the street is just kind of this cool, playful way to represent the whole Black Spider-Man storyline.
Yeah,
I love the part where he forgives Flint Marko.
Oh yeah.
I
will say that's really cool.
Accidentally destroying Uncle Ben, they revealed.
Yeah.
But he still forgave him, and I think that like it was that kind of that point, like
that's missed on a lot of people. I think.
Yeah, I think that is too. I think the fact that it's kind of like how God forgives us.
Yeah.
When like we really realize the stuff we've done, He forgives us, and so Spider-Man was willing to forgive Sandman because he realized the stuff he had done when he had the black suit.
Yeah.
That was not cool. For your numero uno.
You know what it is. Say it. Tell everybody.
The sequel trilogy of Star Wars. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker.
No! Wrong! Episode 4, 5, and 6. The original Star Wars trilogy. Episode 4, 5, and 6. Those are the best.
Like, drop the mic. Done.
I believe that this is the reason that these are my favorite, and I also think that they might be the best possibly because we would not have pop culture as we know it without Star Wars episodes.
I agree
4,
with
5,
that.
and 6. Pop culture would not be what it is without those movies. They're groundbreaking special effects. George Lucas was like, let me just try something. Is basically what happened.
Exactly.
And look what he did. I mean, those special effects were incredible back then. I mean, we have you have Industrial Light and Magic now. You have Skywalker sound now. You have all these things that came out of his experimentation with episodes 4, 5, and 6. Not to mention that, to me, in my opinion, we got the baddest bad guy ever.
Yeah,
and
I
Darth
can't
Vader.
argue that Darth Vader is one of the single greatest villains of all time. I think that he is. I mean, you can't get over his look. You can't get over his voice.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's a very bad guy.
He's the baddest. To me, he's the baddest bad guy there is.
And one of the original trilogy, I do love the part in Empire Strikes Back where he just says, "The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet."
Oh my gosh, I love those lines.
And that was really just like a challenge. That was a challenge for
that
Luke.
part is incredible. And he's so maniacal. And of course, we talked about the prequels earlier, how you see his transformation into Darth Vader. But to me, like a lot of people think that, 4, 5, and 6 is about Luke Skywalker. To me, it's really not about Luke Skywalker. It's about the redemption of Darth Vader.
George Lucas, and I learned this from another YouTube channel, George Lucas has said that Star Wars is about Anakin.
Okay, everybody, that's our top 5 movie trilogies of all time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're filming during the great quarantine of 2020. We want you guys to know that we're praying for you. We want you to be safe, and we hope your families are safe. If you want to subscribe, please click here.
And please click here if you want to see our top 5 Star Wars movies and TV.
That's right. Thank you again for hanging out with us. And until the next time we see you, McClunky.
Like to tell you I wouldn't change a thing. That every day is wonderful. But I gotta be real, gotta be honest, can't lie to myself.